Welcome to the Football Pyramid Talk podcast. Available to listen to on YouTube and Spotify. George, Simon and Stirling as your hosts. 7 different leagues. Enjoy the episode.
Hello everyone and welcome back to episode 32 of the Football Pyramid Talk podcast. Just me and Stirling today, how are you?
Yeah, very well, mate. Thank you. You alright?
Yeah, good weekend we had, didn't we, at the Albion? If we want to get straight into it, shall we? With the Premier League football this weekend. Great result for Brighton. Obviously, if you haven't seen the matchday vlog Sterling did, go check it out on YouTube Shorts and TikTok. But it was a great game. Good little win for the Albion. 2 on the bounce. And I thought, apart from a little 20-minute spell of just absolute carnage in the first half, I thought apart from that, Brighton were comfortable, didn't look to be under real threat throughout the game, and I thought it was just a really good 3 points in the day. What did you think of it?
Yeah, last 20 minutes was pretty nerve-wracking. I thought the Albion was going to go and get a third,
Yeah.
to be honest, at the beginning of the second half, but then it started to just look like it was going to be a nervy one, which it was, and they had a few chances, didn't they? Sangara,
Yeah.
that header. And a few others. There was a scramble. I don't even know what happened. I was starting. Well, I wasn't starting to think because I remained positive. But you know how we've had those late equalisers. I was feeling like, oh god, not another one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was relatively comfortable. I thought Brighton were the better team throughout the game. And one of the best we've played in a long while. I think the first half, some of the football was really good. Second half as well. And then again, it was just about grinding the result out like it was against Brentford. And it was really important that we backed it up, I think, because, you know, we hadn't had a league win in so long.
Yeah.
To get 2 on the bounce and back to winning ways at home is really important. So it was important that we just backed that win up against Brentford, and we did that. So, yeah, I was buzzing, and I thought the atmosphere was really good as well.
Yeah, it was a good atmosphere, to be fair. I was surprised. I think everyone just got the buzz off of, winning the game for the first time in a while, getting 3 points and going into the Forest game. I think a lot of people were confident, especially with the away game. Obviously, a different manager, but you saw how much we dominated over there. So, Albion fans were confident and the players sort of provided. It was good to see Solly March returning to the side, come off the bench. Good to see him back involved with the team, and hopefully he comes on again. Obviously not start. I think it's a bit too early for that, but hopefully he comes back on against Arsenal, makes an impact, maybe even get a last-minute winner. How much carnage would you see in the North Stand? He sort of Solly March put one of the top pins in the last minute. That would be incredible.
That would be carnage.
That would be absolute carnage. But no, bit of a side topic. Jorginho's haircut. Oof. Don't know about that. You said on the TikTok, who did he look like again? Slim Shady.
Yeah.
Slim Shady, Jorginho. Little link up.
Yeah, that was right in front of me. Where we sit, or where we stand, rather, is right next to the where the substitutes warm up, and you can just hear the crowd getting louder and louder, and he's just having a right laugh about it, and all the other players on the bench as well. So it was in good. It was in good jest, but yeah, it was funny, and I think he took it well, but I don't know what the trim is personally, but it was, quite entertaining moment of the game. But did want to speak about the goals as well, because Gomez's strike was unreal. And I thought the build up and then touch and finish from Welbeck was really good as well. And I know you've got here, I saw earlier myself that they both hit over 10 goals in all competitions for the season, which is really good. Even more surprising for Gomez, really, because I wouldn't have said that at the start of the season, but he looks like he's getting better and better. And one thing I did want to say as well is about Hertz's seems to just be picking a team of runners now. I think the bloke behind me said it is a good point. It's a team of runners, team that will work hard, do the basics well, um, and that just really, I think, they all complement each other, if you know what I mean. You got Milner and Gross, and you got Hinchell, but they all run. Then you got the experience to back them up. You got Gomez, who's a dog, and you got Welbeck, who always works hard. Same as Mitoma as well, and then you got the quality in there as well. So I think it's working well. I don't know what you think.
No, I completely agree. You could see the change at Brentford when we just looked like we were clicking all of a sudden after the past couple of weeks. We just looked, disconnected, you could call it. But I think Gomez always works his bollocks off. He was brilliant in the game. You see Welbeck running all over the shop. You got Gross putting in a shift at his old age, and Milner. It just looked like a real group collective in that Forest game and the Brentford game. And now all of a sudden we're 3 points off of Europe, in away from that 8th place. And 2 games ago, Brighton fans were talking about away trips to Millwall. So it just shows that some Brighton fans are basically shut up now that the manager's actually getting things right, and they're just trying to. I don't know about you if you've heard this or not, but they're just trying to find things to, like, I don't know how to put it, like, make it so things are going wrong when they're
Yeah.
going right at the time. It's just like trying to pick stuff out that the manager's doing wrong, even though at the minute in time it's going really well. I just don't get it because we're clearly playing really good football at the minute. So
Yeah,
it's
no, I've tried to stay away from it all, to be honest, because
yeah,
people are just so reactionary. I was having this conversation with Mikey, shout out Mikey. Um, I was saying that I think Brighton fans are fickle, and he was saying that he doesn't think that, and he just thinks, or maybe he does think it, but he's saying that's every football fan. But I disagree. I think Brighton fans are fickle, very very reactionary and quick to just throw the toys out of the pram. Um, just need to be a bit more level headed and respect where we are, where we've come from. It's fine wanting to go further and push on. I get it. We've been in Europe, but I think that has also got to be considered. It's like, all right, yeah, we probably reached Europe before anyone else thought. So if we didn't have that, we're probably just about where we should be. And we're looking good. The form's turning around.
yeah,
And yeah, I think, as you say, 3 points off Europe, people just need to kind of chill out a little bit and just trust the process, like what we were saying before. But I'm looking forward to Arsenal anyway tomorrow. It seems like there's a little bit of a buzz back. And just on like what we were saying the other week and what we mentioned there about the atmosphere, that's what we need. I think I said to you at the end of the game, that's what we need at the end of the
yeah,
game.
yeah,
Yeah, all the Brighton fans, the ones that didn't leave at 85 minutes, they were cheering the team on and really getting behind the team. And Hertzler even put that in his Instagram post, saying, particularly towards the end, we needed your support. So
yeah,
there you go. That's what we need. Not people berating the staff or the players or booing them. Got to get behind the team. Seems to be working. One other thing, sorry, I just wanted to mention that I did think of when I said about he's playing like a team full of dogs. Is it's quite strange, really, because I don't think the players that have come out I don't think they are lazy players. I don't
right,
think they don't work hard. Like Jorginho always is running about. Same with Minte. They always work really hard. Babis when he has played. I think it's just I don't know what it is. It's just those players at the moment. I guess they're the ones in training replicating it, not just in games. And I don't know what your thoughts are on that because they're not lazy players. Maybe it's just confidence.
yeah. I can see where you're coming from, obviously, because I mean, in terms of Jorginho, I think one of the reasons he's probably been dropped is because of his performances when he was on the pitch, which, to his standards were really poor. So
Yeah.
I can see why he would have been dropped. Minte, I don't see, because I don't know what he, could have done wrong. Must have been not working hard enough in training, maybe, like you're saying. I think the players that have earned their spots, in my opinion, must have just had the extra edge over the players on the bench, like Babbitt, like Minte, like
Yeah,
Jorginho, like you're saying, and that's why they're getting the starts at the minute. But I mean, I think that just adds, a bit of competition in the side, which is always good, healthy competition. That you got to fight for your place, and I think he said that in his press
yeah,
conference that that's the best way to sort of help players sort of G themselves up a bit to want to earn their place back in the starting 11, and when they do, they're usually back in the side, playing better and looking more likely to contribute to the side. So yeah, that's my
yeah.
opinion on it. But it's positive signs at the minute, and we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, we will have to wait and see. But you wanted to speak about a 7-goal thriller, which was absolutely full of VAR controversy. I think it could it have been 9 goals or 9 or 8? But VAR like to.
9.
Yeah, could have been 9, but VAR like to, stir the pot and cause controversy every week, and it caused absolute carnage in this game, didn't it?
Yeah, just ruining the game, really, more than anything. Cause carnage, stir the pot, whatever you want to say, but I think it's just sucking the life out of it, and I know a lot of people think that. Burnley kicking themselves, I imagine, for going
Oh,
3-0 down in the
yeah.
fashion they did, because it was rather easy. But it just angers me so much trying to think of the words to describe it, but it does. I'm not a Burnley fan. I don't like Burnley, but it's just that just takes the love of the game away, doesn't it?
Mm.
They come 3-0 down at home to Brentford. They've pulled it back to 3-0. Then they scored a goal to make it 4-3. Fine. Offside because of his shoulder. Fine. Then Brentford have gone down the other end, scored, whatever. Then they make it 4-all. Crazy. Crowd's going crazy. One of the games of the season. And then I think they sat there for 5 minutes, rocking it
Yeah.
back and forward. And then until they eventually decided it was a handball by Ashley Barnes. Even from a personal note for him, I think that's his first Prem goal this season. I imagine it must be. And God knows how long. Um, and it is such a good moment to have that chalked away for a handball. I just think any football fan is pissed off about that. Even Brentford fans, if you ask them, obviously they're going to be happy, but they'll say that regardless of whether you think it's a handball, that rocking it back and forth for 5 minutes, and it's obviously not clear and obvious at that point, and
Yeah.
the shoulder one being millimeters, that's not why the offside rule was brought in. So all of these combining factors just give you a sour taste, don't they?
Yeah, exactly that. And it would have been Ashley Barnes' first Prem goal of the season, and I don't know how long ago he would have scored a Prem goal. So it would have been
Yeah,
a special moment for him. Obviously, getting on the score sheet in the Premier League at his age, which is what 36 odd, maybe older. Not sure, but anyway, um,
yeah, it's 38 probably.
yeah, probably older. Yeah, so I think it just sucks the joy out of football, as you said, and I thought Burnley deserved the result from that. You could tell in Scott Parker's press conference he looks absolutely devastated. I think especially for his players because, first half performance was clearly shit. They're 3-0 down in about half an hour. And then he gets a reaction out of the players, and they should probably go on and win the game, the momentum they had. Um,
Yeah,
obviously, and then obviously, just fine margins with VAR. What was it? It's like just like a slight bit of his shoulder, wasn't it? That was
yeah, it was
offside.
his shoulder. And this
Yeah.
is what I mentioned is the most frustrating thing. It's not why the offside rule was brought in, and I
Mm.
think Wenger. I think it's known, not really known, but for those that do know it, it's called the Wenger rule. It's like there needs to be some advantage for the attackers. They've got the hard work to do. They have to time their run. The player passing it to them has to time the pass, and you have to execute it. Obviously, the defender just has to hold the line.
Yeah.
Offside was brought in to stop people goal hanging, not to rule a bloke out because his shoulder is offside or his nose is offside or anything like this. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Football is a game of fine margins, so you're gonna disallow goals for that. It's infuriating. It is. Like I said, I don't care for Burnley, but as a football fan, that it just ruins it. Honestly, it would have been game of the season. It would have.
Yeah, it would have. And then VAR just ruins it, doesn't it? It's a summary of it all, isn't it? But fair play to Brentford. You can't take anything away from them. They did get the win, and they're 2 points off 6th and 7th. So
Yeah,
they're
two
having a
points off Chelsea.
cracking season for them. You have to give it to them. And they, bounce back from that Brighton result. I mean, they probably shouldn't have, but at the end of the day, they got the 3 points. They won't be complaining, and they'll go on to their next game with a bit of momentum behind them. But moving on, we got a few quiz questions, not for this episode, but on the absence of Simon, he made us some quiz questions, didn't he? For people to answer for the next episode. So if you're watching wherever it might be, on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, sorry, wherever it may be, stick in the comments. We've got 2 questions here for you to answer. Don't cheat and search it up. Go off the top of your head like we do on the podcast. So the first one is there is 11 current Football League clubs and they have never won a Football League title. How many, or can you name any of them? So that's the first question. I think that's quite a tasty one, don't you think?
That's so hard, mate. I don't know if I can. I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to just pull some names out my arse.
That's a tasty one, isn't it? And then the second one is 2 current Premier League teams have won all 4 Football League titles. So the Premier League or Football League, etc. Who are them 2 clubs? It's another tasty one. It's another 2 cracking questions there for you to answer. Just put in the comments, obviously 1, your answer, and then 2 below. And then we'll see. And then next episode, come back next week. We'll be back with some answers. But off the top of my head, I think I'd be struggling right now, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think 2 Premier League teams won all 4. We know it's not Brighton, so you can count that out. I would say, I would just guess the top teams, but they've
Oh,
not been down
no.
the leagues. They've not been down the league, so it's. Then I'm thinking of teams like Brentford, Palace.
Hmm.
Who else? Fulham, maybe.
Leicester, surely. Leicester
Yeah, but it
must.
says 2 current. The question: 2 current Premier League teams
Oh,
on
bloody
all
hell, it's
4
current,
leagues.
see? Bloody hell,
Yeah,
that's
so there's a little bit of a
reasonable.
clue there.
There you go, there's a
Um,
clue for you.
so I'll probably go for that one. I'll go Fulham and Leeds. Why not? I'm just
Yeah.
gonna go Leeds. They've been down there, so
We'll do a joint one. Fulham and Leeds. This is a podcast one, and then we'll come back. And then I don't know about. We won't rabbit on about 11 different clubs, will we?
no,
But,
no, you won't.
but
We'll have to.
we'll see if
We'll speak.
we'll see if
We'll
we get the
speak.
second question right next episode. But we'll speak about the first one next episode because we'll be here for a while if we speak about all the 11 possible clubs, won't we? So, but
Yeah.
hopefully you see this and comment down below what you think your answer is going to be for them 2 questions. So, should be interesting. Come back next week and we'll have an answer for you. So, wait and see for that. But we will move on to the Championship. And you wanted to speak about Sheffield United getting a 2-0 away win at QPR. And Sheffield United are starting to creep up the table, aren't they?
Yeah, they are up to 13th now, which is a surprise. You know, they don't
Yeah.
have to worry about getting relegated now. I never thought they would, but
No.
as you said, slowly starting to creep back up there. In their last
Yeah.
8 games, they've only lost 2 of them, and that was against
Nice.
Borough and Cov. So
Well,
Middlesbrough and Coventry, the 2 front runners for automatic promotion, those are the only 2 teams they've lost to. So they're definitely on good form. And it was another good result against QPR. I've not watched the highlights. I've not seen too much about it, but it was just a standout for me, really, because they were right down the bottom, and their season wasn't going so well. But now they're, in the mix of things. I think it would be too much of an ask for them to get into the playoff places, but at
yeah.
least they're there or thereabouts. They've even gone above QPR now, which
Well,
says a lot. So,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, good result for Sheffield United, and things are looking up for them. I think next season they'll be right amongst it.
Yeah, I reckon so too. I think it's just because of how poorly they started, really, and Chris Wilder's sort of slowly but surely getting the results that he'd probably be used to as a manager in the Championship. Because obviously, new players in the squad and getting back used to being at the job for a third time, isn't it? So every single time would have been a sort of new situation for him to get used to. But this is a good result. QPR is a really tough place to go to, so to get a result here is a great result. Tyrese Camborne, Callum O'Hare with the goals, good players both of them, and probably are their standout players, I would say. But they got
Yeah,
a decent team there at Sheffield United. I think next season, as you said, they'll cause a lot of problems, with Chris Wilder's history in the Championship and the sort of players that I mentioned there. You've got Tanganga at the back as well, Teeth Chong out wide. They've got some
yeah,
good players. They've got some good players in there. So to see him sort of but surely rising up the table isn't that much of a surprise because they got the quality to do that. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see him do get maybe even challenge for the title next season, wouldn't you?
yeah. Absolutely, I agree with what you're saying. They've got a good squad. They've got the experience. It was only last season that they lost in the playoff final.
Yeah,
Um, I know some of those players have gone on, and obviously new manager now. But as you said, he's experienced. He knows the club inside and out, probably
yeah,
more than anyone. The amount of
yeah.
times he's been in it, and yeah, I like their team. I like some of their players. That O'Hare is a really good player.
Mm.
Every time I watch him, I'm impressed with him. He definitely is the standout for me. So, yeah, I'll back them next season to be right there and amongst it.
Yeah, 100%. We'll move on to the game I wanted to talk about. Norwich getting an away win at Leicester, who really are in a serious chance of going down to League One next season because of that points deduction, and on top of that, just because of how poor they've been. I mean, they'd be in
Yeah.
amongst it anyway if they didn't have that points deduction. I mean, in terms of the game,
Yeah.
Ben Salame opened the scoring in the 68th minute. He's been so good recently. He's had a slow start to his Norwich career, but recently he's been really good. 5 goals, 5 assists this season for him, so not too bad indeed compared to his other seasons. I think he was at Sheffield United before, it's a bit underwhelming, but this season at Norwich, he's sort of found that sort of spark in his game and is really kicking on with form. And Ali Ahmed with another goal since joining from Vancouver Whitecaps.
He's a
78th
good
minute.
player.
He's a really good player. He's got 3 goals, 2 assists since joining Jan. Just looks a great player, doesn't he?
Yeah. He really
But
does, yeah. He's got all the talent. And is it left wing that he plays?
yeah, left winger.
And yeah, he looks a real danger coming in off that left. He's got good strike on him,
Yeah,
quick feet, pace. Yeah, real danger. And then Norwich are another one actually. That next season, I think they might challenge if they can keep some of that team together and maybe add a few more additions. That they've got quite a nice, well-rounded team. They've got so McConville at centre half.
yeah.
What's the fella that's up front for them? The young
Oh,
English one.
McAma.
Yeah, Mackemar, this Ahmed. So yeah, they've got some good players in there.
Yeah, 100%. And since Clement's come in, he's just turned it around, really, isn't he? Because they looked,
Yeah.
you know, they're in the relegation zone. Obviously, I didn't think they were going to go down because they were going to sack Liam Manning eventually, and they were going to find a solution to what a
Yeah.
shocking start he had there. So, but he's just sort of dragged them out of that situation. They're well away from the relegation zone, and the only way's up really for them until the end of the season. But for Leicester, it really isn't that because they are without a win since early January. No win in 10 games in all competitions.
Yeah.
1 point inside the drop. And the question is, I mean, I don't know about you, but it's looking like they're going to go down at the minute. It's crazy. You know, they've got Gary Rowett in. He usually has a good sort of record at all the clubs he's been at for like how well he's started, sort of like a new manager bounce. But that really hasn't been the case since he's been appointed. So I don't think they will go down, but it's sort of like a Spurs situation, but even worse, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a good comparison because their squad, they should be nowhere near
Mm,
that position. And we've spoken about the squad before
yeah.
on the podcast. They should be nowhere near it. But I don't know what it is. I've seen the fans at the weekend were protesting the owners. Um, oh, I'm not too sure if it was because it's what Vishai's son. I'm not too sure if it is him directly that they want out, but I think King Power,
Mm,
um, King Power as a whole, they want gone.
right.
So I'm not too sure how the board's set out there, but if any Leicester fans are watching, let us know. But I think that's one of the reasons, 100%. But at the end of the day, the players on the pitch are good enough. So I don't know what is going on there. Maybe they don't care enough.
Mm,
Maybe they're just not fit to wear the shirt. Maybe they just aren't up to it, you know. And there's players that were once good, like Ayew and Bobby Decordova-Reid. He's
mm,
there, isn't he? Still, yeah. Maybe it's players like these who are just now has-beens and actually aren't up to playing in the championship because it's such a competitive league. But honestly, it'd be absolutely crazy to see Leicester go down into League One. To have a club with that stature in League One, I know there's some big ones in there now,
mm,
Cardiff, for example, but they're Premier League winners 10 years ago. I mean, if
yeah.
you'd have told them you're going to win the Premier League and then 10 years later you'll be in League One potentially, I mean, they'd be saying, well, what's going on there? I
Mm,
don't think
mm,
any Leicester fan would believe you, but on the same hand, I think they'll probably take going down to League One for what they have had, but it doesn't change the
mm.
fact that in the here and now, it's just not good enough. I did just pull up a quick article here, and it says United for Change or Unite for Change is the
Right.
movement that they want, fan led. Supporting the King Power being out. So I think the fans are calling it on the board, but I don't think you can put this all on the board personally. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I don't think you can, with the individual quality like you've been saying that they've got. How are they not doing better than they are? How are they in the relegation zone with players like Abdul Fatawu, who probably should be a Premier League player?
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that they're in the situation they're in, and it is a serious possibility that they do go down because it doesn't seem like they're going to improve at the minute in time. It's not been any manager bounce or anything like that, and they've got
Yeah.
Ipswich away next. That's probably going to be a really tough game. And then they got Bristol City at home, Leicester, QPR at home, Watford away. They're tough games, They're people,
Well,
they're teams in and around the playoffs. They've got to step up their game because them teams can cause some serious problems, and they'll be right in the mix of it, even though they already
yeah.
are, but even further in the mix of it, which is just crazy to think. I know it's only 1 point, but like it's just so compact in there that there's so many big teams in there. I think the teams that you'd probably say are in there are Portsmouth, Charlton, Blackburn, West Brom, Leicester, and Oxford. I think they're the 6 teams that are probably going to fight it out for them last two relegation
Yeah.
spots in the season, which I think will sort of, build up in anticipation come the end of the season, because the quality that all six of them teams have got, I think they'll find individual quality in just team team performances will help pluck them out of and get them out of tricky situations and pick up key results. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think it's going to be those clubs that you mentioned there that's going to be in and amongst it. I mean, as a Leicester fan, you'd be confident in your ability to, stay up against what Pompey, Blackburn, are a big team as well. So are West Brom, but Leicester would be confident. The fans, definitely will be. I'm not sure how the players are feeling, but the thing that's going against them, as we bang on about so much, is form, and these other teams are picking up results. Blackburn the
Yeah,
other week, Portsmouth the other week. So there you go. I mean, Blackburn and Portsmouth are playing each other as well their next game.
right.
So that
Yeah,
could go in their favour as well. But that's not what Leicester need, and yeah, it's a shame really to see him in that predicament, because I do like Leicester. I think everyone's got a soft spot for them now after what they did 10 years ago. But honestly, it's just ridiculous. And I think what we will say about the board and why the fans are so irritated with the board is because of the PSR breaches, which have led to the points deductions, which ultimately has got them in the relegation zone. But
yeah,
I still do back the point of, you actually said it, they'd probably be in and amongst it anyway.
yeah,
And regardless, you can't blame it all on that, because those players should be picking up more results than they are. Like even that game against Southampton, they're 3-0 up and they bottled it 4-3. There's no
mm,
excuse for that. There's
mm,
absolutely no excuse for that. The players have got to take a long, hard look at themselves.
100%. Yeah, I completely agree. And even with the 6 point deduction, they'll still be in 19th, just above Portsmouth, and they've got a game in hand of them. So just like, well, it's ridiculous. I can't believe it. You talk about the sort of like the results going on down there. Oxford just beat West Brom, so that's huge for them. West Brom are right in it as well. Leicester and West Brom especially. I mean, Blackburn, Portsmouth, Charlton, and Oxford are big clubs in themselves, but them two especially,
Yeah,
Premier League clubs consistently
yeah,
for the past couple of years. To see them in League One, either of them two would be like just weird to look at. Do you know what I mean? It would just be
yeah,
weird. So we'll have to see how it unfolds. I mean, it's a crazy situation in the Championship, and we can't wait to see it unfold because it is really, really tight down there. So we will have to wait and see. But we'll move on to League One, where you wanted to speak about a big upset and a really good result for Wigan under their new manager, getting a win at home to Huddersfield. So what did you think?
yeah. It was a massive result and a really, really big surprise looking at the results as well, to see Wigan beat Huddersfield. Only
Yeah,
1-0 in the game, but takes them 1 point above relegation. So it was a really, really big 3 points, especially when you take in teams around them for slipping up. Leighton Orient lost, so they've actually taken their spot in the relegation zone. Because
yeah,
I believe last week Wigan were actually sat in that. Could
yeah,
be wrong, but I think they were right. So
yeah, yeah,
it's swapped them two over, and it's given them a little bit of breathing room, but they're still by no means home and away, only 1 point above. But yeah, massive result against a team as well, right at the top. But Huddersfield themselves, they're at just a point off slipping out the playoffs. Reading, who are one of the form sides, just creeping up on them.
yeah,
So, yeah, I mean, in terms of Huddersfield, really poor, and they need to start picking up some results, because Reading, they don't seem like they're going to slip up like how they have against
yeah,
a team down the bottom. But for Wigan, they'll take confidence from that they can beat a top side, and they play Blackpool on the weekend, so that's a massive result. Blackpool just sitting above them, I think,
mm.
and also in that relegation fight. So yeah, going to be a huge, huge game that we'll have to keep an eye out for on the weekend.
Yeah, 100%. It was Jensen Weir that got the goal, former Albion player. So good to see him doing the job for Wigan. But yeah, this is a huge result for them. It was Gary Cadwell that went to Wigan in the end from Exeter, and he's done a really good job there. He's got 2-1 wins against Huddersfield and Luton, who are two good sides in this league. 2 clean sheets against them two sides, I think, is very impressive. And in terms of Wigan, it's going to be tough now, but I think with the quality that the manager has, his tactical nous, really, I think they'll be able to get out of it. If you're getting 2 wins out of your last 3 in a relegation battle, you're probably going to slowly but surely creep away from it. And you look at the table, if you get 2 wins on the bounce, you could go as high as 15th at the minute. It's just so congested near the bottom of the table that Wigan could, be out of that situation with a couple of decent results. So, yeah, I mean, in terms of Huddersfield, just 1 win in their last 5 games. So, as you said, only a point inside the playoffs. So, the inconsistency, as we always say, is catching up on them, and teams are starting to creep up on them. Like you said, Reading don't look like they're going to slip up at all. Stevenage have picked up a few really good results in the past couple of weeks. Wickham, with their new manager, really is not the time to be slipping up in this league. And Huddersfield are one of those teams that are, and it's sort of coming back to bite them at the minute. So we have to see if they can keep it up, because it is very tight in so many different areas of this league table. And one of those areas is near the top, and I wanted to speak about Bolton absolutely smashing Exeter 5-1 away from home. It looks like Gary Cadwell leaving the club's not going the best of ways for Exeter, losing 5-1 at home. I mean, Dolby's at it again. 1 goal, 2 assists in this game from Cam. I thought he was a striker, but he's clearly playing behind striker Johnny Kenny, the Irish striker they've got on loan from Celtic. He got a goal and assist himself. So, front two doing the business for them. Dolby's got 6 goals, 2 assists in his last 7 games. So he's been on cracking form. I think we've picked it out, really, haven't we? Throughout when
We
we've
have
been doing this.
spoken before.
Really good player in the recent weeks. He's been picking up a bit of momentum, and then getting Sissoko on the score sheet. I've picked this out because, they're sort of going to be trying to make a statement, because obviously Cozy Dewberry's out. So they want to show that even without him, they can still score, they can still make an impact on the game for the side, and they both did that in this game. So credit to them. But Exeter without a winning 7 games now, and as I said, with the loss of their manager Gary Cadwell, probably looking like mid-table this season, but also needs to be wary, as I said, about this table. Very congested in there. They do need to look over their shoulder a little bit. Only 5 points above the drop, even though they're in 15th, 6 places away from the relegation zone, which I think just shows how compact it is in there. But finally, in terms of Bolton, 10 games unbeaten, but you'd say 10 games unbeaten. A lot of them are draws. They've got 4 draws in there, which, as we say, they draw too many games. And if they want to be challenging for the top 2 places, which I think is a little bit too late now, they need to be turning them draws into wins. But do you think there's any chance this result can help, spur a bit of momentum? Because they had been a bit inconsistent, but this big win away from home could maybe lift the spirits up and sort of make a late fight for the automatic spots. What do you think?
No, I don't think so. To be honest, I think those 2 at the top are going to be promoted automatically. I think Bolton, as you said, as we've said numerous times, it's the draws that are getting them. So yeah, I mean, I think they're destined for the playoffs, but they're going to be the favourites. And as you said, they've got quality players. Cozy Dewberry's out, but they've got that Gale, Sissoko. Dolby, he does usually play as a striker, because I was covering it the other week. He does usually play as a striker, but they've just brought this Johnny Kenny in January, so they've obviously tweaked it a little bit to accommodate for him. Crazily enough, he was playing in the Europa League for Celtic in
Man,
January before he
that's
came.
great, isn't it? Yeah.
So he's now playing League One. He's obviously got a bit. He's only 22 years of age, and he's just made an appearance in. Well, I'm not too sure when it was, but he has made his first appearance for the Ireland national team as well. September
Nice.
25, it says here. So yeah, one cap for Ireland, and he seems a really good player. You know, at the age of 22, to be playing Europa League, already had a cap for your country, and he's scoring goals in League One. Yeah, amazing addition, and I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in those playoffs. But I think anything above that, mate, it's just going to be too much for them.
Yeah, I do agree. I think I agree with you with the Johnny Kenny thing. I think it just shows the quality of this league that, you can be playing Europa League football a few months ago and then you're at the same level to be playing League One football. I think it just shows how much
Absolutely.
this league has in, sort of quality in players. And Johnny Kenny showed that in this game, and a lot of players did. I think the attackers really came into fruition. I think
Yeah.
we said it at the start of the season, Bolton have one of the best attacks in the league, and 5 goals, it doesn't surprise me with some of the attacking quality that they have. But it'd be interesting to see how they get on the playoffs, because I do agree it is a little bit too late. But it will be interesting to see how Exeter get on without their manager, without winning 7. Do they fall into a relegation battle? It will be interesting to see if they do. So we will keep an eye out on that, but we will also move on to League Two football. In this league, not very high scoring games, but there was a massive, massive game at the top of the table. Cambridge versus MK Dons, and it was an absolutely crucial equaliser in the last minute for the Dons, wasn't it?
Yeah, massive, and as you said, it wasn't the most exciting League Two match week, but this was the big one, right at the top between Cambridge and MK Dons, and yeah, massive equaliser late on for MK Dons. They'll, I think, be the happier of the two with that
Definitely,
coming back
definitely.
to get a point. But still just 2 points separating the two in second and third. So yeah, still all to play for, and I just thought one of them really needed to win this game, didn't they? But ended up in a draw.
Yeah, this is such a big game, and I think Collins scoring that penalty in the last minute is some bottle on him to do that. Such a big penalty.
Yeah,
Cambridge would have gone above him if they won. Well, no, would have stayed above him if they won.
yeah,
Extended the gap, gone about 5 points clear, I think. It's
yeah,
just, it would have been crucial for them. And to score that penalty, absolutely massive for NK Dons. And obviously would have been arm breaking for Cambridge. Holding out that win would have been crucial for them, as I said, and having to concede that penalty, unbelievable scenes you can imagine in the away end. But some
yeah,
bollocks that Collins has got to have on him to step up and score that, hasn't he? But yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
crucial game. But I don't know what you think about both of these teams' chances of being in the automatic spots come the end of the season. Because if you look at the table, you've got Notts County on 61 and Swindon on 62, and these two sides, Cambridge on 64 and Milton Keynes Dons on 62 as well. So it's
Yeah,
just so tight in there. I mean,
it
if you had to
is.
pick, I think Bromley, you can, well, not comfortably say, but I think you can say they'll finish in the automatic spots. But if you had to pick two to be in the automatics come the end of the season, who would you say? I'll do my two as well, but who do you reckon?
Yeah, I would have it as it is now, to be honest.
Right.
Definitely
Yeah.
not comfortable for Bromley as champions just
Yeah.
yet, because if Cambridge had held on, they would only be 2 points behind them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I think the three that's there now in automatics will be the three to go up. That would be my prediction, and I think those three they've actually been the best. Well, Bromley, God, don't even know where they came from, to be honest. But Yeah, and they've been the standouts in the league, right? And they've been up there pretty much the whole time. I don't even know if Bromley have. We've been doing this podcast all season. I don't know if Bromley have been up. I don't remember seeing them until a few weeks ago when they were up the top of the league. Honestly, I don't. But I remember Cambridge and Milton Keynes have been right up there the whole time.
Yeah, but it's sort of just come out of nowhere, hasn't it, with Bromley? I think they just had that one. Well, it's been a long stint now, but they just had that one stint of results where they just kept winning and winning. You're like, why they're just going like this in the table? It's just like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, they're going and going and going. You're like, when they're going to stop, and they just haven't. It's been mental. But
Yeah.
if I had to pick the two, it's really tight, but I probably would agree with you just. I think it will be close. I reckon Swindon will be the closest. I reckon Swindon will finish above Notts County, but I reckon it will be really tight come the end of the season. So we will have to wait and see. But a team that are just below Notts County, I threw Alexandra out of nowhere. I think this has happened, which is a team I wanted to talk about. They beat Tranmere 2-1 at home in a 91st minute winner to beat them to continue their finish, their push to finish in the playoff spots. I mean, it's a crazy ride, really. I've sort of Crew have come out of nowhere. I don't know about you, but I can't correlate them being near these places earlier in the season, like we've been saying about a lot of teams, to be fair. But in terms of the game, they were 1-0 down until the 77th minute and then Connor Thomas came off the bench to score to equalise, and then to win the game, Josh Marsh, 91st minute winner to get his night for the season. 5 assists as well when he's the club's top goal scorer. But I think from the extended highlights watching, the man of the match for me was young winger on loan from Aston Villa, Tommy O'Reilly. He's got 10 assists this season, as well as 6 goals. He's got the most assists in the league. So
Right.
I was very impressed with him. Got 2 assists, and he looks very, very good, to be fair. So Villa will probably be keeping an eye out on him and not returning to the first team squad, but next season probably hoping to loan him out to maybe a lower sided championship side or a high at the
Yeah.
table, high quality League One side. So I'd be interested to see if he gets a move. But in terms of the win, as I said, it moves them into 6th place inside the pass by 3 points. They have 4 wins out of the last 5 games, so really good run at an important stage of the season. But in terms of Tranmere, it just is 3 losses on the bounce, as well as just 1 win in their last 10 games. Their run of form is 1 win and 9 losses, so not a great run of form at all. 8 points off off the relegation zone. But if they keep up this form, they could get brought into a battle, because if you keep up
Yeah.
that run of form, it's going to be a very, very long day. But I don't know if you think, probably 2 questions here. Do you think Tranmere will get drawn into it? And do you think Crew end up in the playoffs come the end of the season?
Yeah, I don't think Tranmere will end up getting drawn into it, to be honest. Sat in 19th, but you look at those teams below them are significantly worse, I think.
Yeah.
Like Crawley, Barrow, even Bristol Rovers aren't great.
No,
And then in this league, you've only got the 2 going down as well. So
yeah.
there's that, which is on their side. But as for Crew, yeah, to answer your earlier question, they have come out of nowhere as well.
Yeah.
It seems like that anyway, because as I said before, we've been doing this podcast all season, but some of these teams you just look over a bit. I think, not from any bias, just cherry picking the games we want to speak about. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
think they can be. I think they can be in and amongst it. Don't see why not, but those spaces just below and those teams just below got Grimsby, Walsall, Barnet, and Chesterfield. They're all right on the tails of Salford and Crewe themselves.
yeah,
And as we've said many times, it's very, very tight. I mean, Salford are on 55. Grimsby, they're in 7th, Salford. Grimsby in 11th are on 52. So
yeah,
it's one win and 1 loss, really. Um, so there you go. We'll have to wait and see. But yes, I think Crewe, why not? You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
I actually quite like the look of Walsall because they were the front runners. If they can find a bit of form, I think they'll probably nick into it. I like Barnet as well and Grimsby. So I don't know with Crew. I wouldn't personally, but why not? I don't know too much about them other than the brief things we speak about on the pod.
exactly. You just got to look at it from the outside. It's not like we watch them week in, week out. You can only base it off of what you're seeing from social media, from the stats, from the player analysis, match ratings, etc., etc. So I think some of the teams just look better in terms of quality compared to Crew. So I would probably agree with you with that. I think they might just get caught up amongst it, and teams like Walsall, Grimsby, at the start of the season, looked like they were going to be challenging for the title. I think they'll just find that
Yeah,
edge and pick up a bit of momentum, pick up
and
their
you
form
see,
that they had near the start, and find either one of them find their place back in a playoff spot come the end of the season.
yeah, and you've seen with Grimsby as well how they can be really good in these one-off games because they had a run in the FA Cup and obviously they famously beat Man United in the League Cup.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
they can definitely, with these one-off games, if they can get into the playoffs or even towards the end of the season when it's make or break, I think they can show up to those types of games. So it's just whether Crew have got that mentality to go toe to toe with them in that sense.
100%. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see on both sides of the table how it ends up because, as I said, it's congested in both areas of the table. So it'll be interesting to see how all the teams end up. But we'll move on to National League. And one game we wanted to talk about was in the FA Trophy with the National League side. And it caused a sacking. Marine beat Woking 1-0 at home. I think they're National League North,
Yeah,
if I'm
they're Liverpool
incorrect.
way.
Yeah, so a really poor result for Woking, and it just ended their season, really. They're not going to go down. Well, they could go down, but I don't think they will go down. But just the fact of who's left in the FA Trophy, they could have easily won this competition. I think Wealdstone are the only other National League side
Southend.
left in it, and Southend beat Horsham. So they would have had a real good chance of going on and winning this competition. But losing to a National League North side has got the manager the sack, hasn't it?
Yeah, and it just compiles the misery of what has been the last sort of 6 weeks, I think, for Woking. Um, I agree, I don't think they will go down,
No.
but they're only 5 points above the relegation zone in
Yeah.
the National League now, and you hit the nail on the head, this is their season done.
Yeah.
I've got a mate who's a Woking fan, he goes home and away, and yeah, he was so excited about this game, and he was buzzing that they drew Marine because they were the weakest team
Yeah.
in the competition. Um, and yes, they could have won the whole thing. Why not? I mean, I do think Southend would have been and still are the favourites, but it was a chance for them to go to Wembley, Woking, and in and amongst an average season, that would have been amazing. That's what you
Yeah.
live for as fans, and I know that he was buzzing for this or that prospect and this game. So to go there, he went all the way up to Liverpool and Woking have a good fan base. So for all of
Yeah.
them that went up there to go out with what looks like a whimper 1-0
Yeah.
is really heartbreaking for them. No Wembley, season over. All they can hope is that they survive relegation, which I think they will. But subsequently, sack their manager. Chairman had some choice words, and the board, sorry, not the board, the admin or whoever it came from in the Instagram post was saying that um, there was such excitement with prospect of going to Wembley, where they wanted to be
Yeah.
after struggling last season with how it's ended up. The chairman said the result it's a results oriented business and they don't match up with our ambitions. So there you go. They sacked Neil Ardley and Simon Bassey, the assistant manager. And yeah, as I said, it just compiles their misery. Another thing I wanted to mention was just the reason why I say about how miserable it's been. They lost their star man Joshua Sode as well.
Yeah, Forest
Probably
Green.
probably most known, as being the hashtag Academy winner, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
he
yeah.
paid for hashtag, um, which was for a fee as well. Surprisingly
Mm.
enough, he actually went for a fee. So Forest Green paid Woking money, but it's been a torrid month or so for them going out of
Mm.
this, losing their managers and the coaching staff and their star man. It's just sad to see, really.
Yeah, it's been torrid there, hasn't it? I saw the chairman come out and say something about how the results just haven't been reaching their ambitions at all, and that's one of the reasons why they had to part ways with Neil Ardley. No surprise, really, because I think they had torrid times in the FA Trophy last season. I think they lost in the last minute to Aldershot, their main rivals, and lost in the last minute there. That was their season over, and Aldershot went on to win the competition. So having, the sort of a repeat of last season would have hurt the fans, even more because, happening for two seasons in a row, it's like having two shots to your heart, isn't it? It's just like two
Yeah.
killer blows. And, leads into a side that's, you're losing to your main rivals one season and then you're losing to a side that you full well know that you should be beating as a team in the higher league. Marine, I've briefly looked at the National League North, but I don't think they're great.
No,
Off
I
the,
don't think
off the
they're
top of
very
my
good.
head, I mean, so it's just disappointing for them. I do feel for the fans, and because as you say, they do go home and away. They have a good support, so it'll be interesting to see how the FA Trophy ends up now. Because I think it's Marine, Southend, Wealdstone, and someone else. I can't remember off the top of my head. So will be interesting to see who wins. I think it probably will be Southend, but
Yeah.
that's just my opinion. But I want to speak about a National League game between two games that have sort of surprised a lot of people where they are on the table between Scunthorpe and Solihull Moors. 3-3 draw it was in the end. 6-goal thriller between the two sides. More points dropped for both sides, who both are yet to win a game in the last five if you look at the form table. So
Yeah.
not great for either side. But Connor Wilkinson had the away side 2 up with a brace at half time. He's got 8 goals this season and is the club's top goal scorer. And then Danny Whitehall, he got a hat trick in the game. He scored early on in the second half to make it 2-1. And then about 2 minutes after that, Solihull got a red. So then that sort of stirred the pot of the game up completely. Tyler French got sent off. And then as I said, Danny Whitehall with a hat trick. He's got the 79th and 86th minute to make it 3-2. So it looked like they were home sailing. Looked like they turned the game around, man advantage. And that Whitehall I've just mentioned has been ridiculous this season. 16 goals, 5 assists. And he's also his club's top goal scorer at Scunthorpe. So he's having a very good season. But then the home side's hearts were broken. 95th minute equaliser from Isaac Moore, who's on loan from Coventry, but was on loan at Forest Green, but didn't get enough game time, so he went to Solihull Moors, where he's starting to find minutes and looking like he's paying the manager back for starting him with crucial goals in the last minute like this. So incredible scenes you can imagine in the way and for Solihull, because obviously Scunthorpe are in the playoffs, and Solihull, if they want any chance of making this season into something, they need to be beating teams like this, because they're in the playoffs at Scunthorpe, and Solihull need to be catching up to teams and gaining advantage on drop points from teams like this. But Scunthorpe now without winning 6 games, but still in the playoffs by 9 points, so can't see them dropping out of it. But they do have to look over their shoulders if they keep up this form, because as we say, teams can build momentum and that gap could close in about 2 or 3 weeks. But Solihull
Yeah.
without winning 5, 10 points off the playoffs. There's a chance, but with the form
They're
and
not getting in there,
consistency,
mate.
I was about to say, they're lacking it and they're too far off. I don't see them getting in the playoffs, but I think Scunthorpe will remain in there come the end of the season, don't you?
Yeah, no chance for Solihull Moors. Personally, don't see that happening. I've not
No.
been wowed by them at all. Scunthorpe, yeah, I do think they will. As you said, 9 points, comfortable
Yeah.
in there at the moment. And they have been a good side this season, picked up good results. But I was looking at this because I saw the result. And Scunthorpe have had some crazy games. It's only the other week where I covered that 6-3 loss
Yeah.
they had at home to Boston. In their last 6 games, there's been 29 goals.
Bloody hell,
I
that's
mean,
crazy.
it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. They've had a 3-0 here. They had a 3-1 loss to Aldershot. They had obviously that 6-3. So it's crazy what's going on there at Scunthorpe. It seems like they could put the ball in the back of the net, but they can't really stop it from going in there. So
Yeah.
I do think they'll get playoffs, but they need to shore up the defence. That's for sure. If they're gonna compete with teams like Forest Green, Boreham Wood, Carlisle, even Rochdale, because there's only one automatic spot, right,
Yeah.
in the playoffs. If they're gonna need to sort that out if they're gonna compete in the playoffs. So yeah, I mean, I do think they'll be there, but I don't think they're gonna go on and win the whole thing.
No, I cannot see that happening, to be honest. I think it'll be good for the neutral when we go to watch the
Yeah,
playoffs if games are finishing 6-3. I mean, I wouldn't mind that, but if they
definitely.
want to look at it from a fan's perspective, they'll be panicking and looking at games like this and thinking, God, if games against, Boston are happening, bloody 6-3s are happening, it's going to be a topsy-turvy ride and a very hard one to take for the art during the 90 minutes of football if they're having results like that. But it will be interesting to see how Scunthorpe get on in the playoffs because obviously just been promoted from the National League North. So seeing if they compete with teams like, Carlisle and Rochdale, very big clubs, and
Yeah,
uh,
they're a big
obviously
club in their own right as well.
yeah, exactly. They'll be thinking, they could go toe to toe with them in terms of the fans and the quality and the statures of the club. So yeah, really interesting to see what happens in them playoffs. But I don't think it is, as you said, a step too far really for Solihull at this late stage of the season. But we'll move on to the National League South, which has so much going on in this league recently. And I don't know if you saw it on the notes just before I started. Literally just got announced about, well, how long we got? An hour ago, let's say, from when we were
Yeah,
recording here. KSI, JJ Honest Chingy, the YouTuber, has just announced he's buying Dagenham and Redbridge. I
crazy.
couldn't believe the news. And as soon as I saw this, I just thought, this is why we do this podcast, for just
Yeah,
situations like this. One of the most famous people in the UK is about to buy a team in the sixth tier of English football. I mean, it's crazy, Dagenham and Redbridge, obviously a League Two side formerly, and maybe even League One, a league club, you could say, obviously. And only just been relegated from the National League South National League last season, and they're a big club. So to be fair to KSI, to buy a team in this league, you'd probably say that Dagenham are probably one of the biggest clubs in this division and are one of the most followed. But I think
yeah,
with
we
his,
thought they'd be right up there, didn't we, this
yeah,
season?
exactly. I think with his, the money he has, obviously, how much he's going to invest, and the players he could bring in, they've got to be into consideration for going up next season. I think it will be a little too late this season, but
Yeah.
what do you think of that? I think it's just crazy for the league in itself and the club.
Yeah, it is crazy. I only saw it. I didn't see it before I got on the phone with you. Just literally saw it from the notes.
Yeah,
Yeah, mental news. Really, really quite amazing actually. Because as you said, for the league, the amount of exposure it's going to bring for the National League South is massive.
Yeah.
I imagine more fans at Dagenham and Redbridge, more social media coverage, more press coverage,
Yeah, definitely.
maybe even more TV coverage because he's got
Yeah.
good relations with DAZN, and maybe they'll negotiate any additional, contracts that they have to show it without having to pay for extra or whatever
Yeah.
it might be. Maybe get it on YouTube with how he is on that platform. So yeah, it's massive in general, and it's really cool actually because KSI is a legend. Everyone loves him.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure everyone loves him, but everyone knows him, and he's a massive figure. So it's going to be sick to just see him in charge of Dagenham and Redbridge, and that's a big side as well. That's a big club to be taking over. So we'll see how he can do. He does love football, so I'm sure he'll put his heart and soul into it.
Yeah, it'll be brilliant to see how he gets on and sort of how the team gets on, how they sort of react to this news. I mean, I'm just looking at the table now. They are only 5 points off of the playoffs, if you look at the table, but I just think they're a bit too inconsistent if you just look at and just think of how their season's gone. You can just remember they've always been too inconsistent this season. So
Yeah.
that
I
that
wonder
they
if
get it
he'll
this
pay
season.
Andy Carroll's wages.
Oh my god, yeah, it'll be hoping that Andy Carroll's going to be gone at the end of the season. That'll
He'll
make him
be
bankrupt.
asking for more money now he knows he's coming
Yeah, he'll
in.
be asking for another 30 grand a year, won't he? He'll be up in the wage bill, won't he?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, he'll be up in the wage bill now. He knows KSI's in the building, but it'll be interesting if they don't got this season in the National League South, and I think next season it'll be so interesting to see how they sort of invest and sort of the players they bring in. I think it'll be a squad rebuild because maybe even the manager change. You never know because KSI could bring in a huge
Yeah.
manager because of his social media stature. It could be a real change at Dagenham, and I am very, very interested to see what goes on there in the summer, and we will keep a very close eye on it because that news just came out today, and it did shock me, and it is a very, very good thing to happen for the podcast, first of all, but also for the league in general. So we'll have to wait and see. But there was more, as I said, there was loads of news in this league. Torquay lost 5-0 at home to Chelmsford at home
Crazy.
on the weekend. Very toxic environment at the ground. You could tell that fans were not happy with the manager, Paul Wotton, and he got sacked by the club. And they were without a winning 5, 1 draw, 4 losses. And this game sort of put the nail on the head for the fans, really. And it's a question of even if they can make the playoffs now, only being inside them by 4 points. But now they've got the
I think
legend
they will.
himself in. No, that's what I was about to say. Now they've got the legend himself in Neil
The
Warnock.
goat.
The
The
GOAT. The
goat.
GOAT. Neil Warnock is
Buzzing.
in charge of Torquay. Another great thing to happen to this league. And I think he will absolutely smash it there. I can't wait to see the result tonight against Farnborough. We're recording this on a Tuesday. In terms of we've got to give our plaudits to Chelmsford because this is a really good result. 4 unbeaten now. Great run of form since the new year, really. And sit just a point outside the playoffs. So really, really good from them. They got good players, as I've got on my notes here. Putting 5 goals past Torquay is not easy. They got Lyle Taylor, Harry Harbrook, who was on the score sheet in the game, Joe Grimwood, Jason Adigan, who was at Borough last season. They
Yeah.
got some really good players, but Neil Warnock coming into Torquay, if we move on to that, it's a
That's the
incredible
main talking
appointment.
point.
That's the main talking point here. But we'll give our plaudits to Chelmsford and then move on to the big man, the absolute goat himself, Neil Warnock. I mean, how do you reckon he'll get on? I think the only way is up really with Neil Warnock being in charge of the side at Torquay, don't you think?
Yeah, well, I think he'll be great for the league just being in there, and I'm sure it'll be great for Torquay with all
Yeah,
the experience he's got, and he's such a character, so it'll be great just seeing him back in the dugout. But the bloke's 77.
I know it's crazy,
I
isn't it?
mean, that is, he's pushing 80. He's getting on now.
Like Roy Hodgson,
So
isn't it?
I don't know, how long he's going to want to do the job for.
Yeah.
But he seems in good shape. I wouldn't have picked him out as a 77-year-old, to be honest. So I'm sure he's still got the drive for it. He wouldn't have taken the job, would he, if he hadn't?
No,
And
exactly.
from knowing only from the outside a brief bit about him, you can tell that he's got mad passion and love for the game. So I'm sure he'll do great. All those things included and taken account for. But Torquay really need to get back to winning ways because it's only one win in 5, isn't it? Sorry, without a win in 5, one draw in
Yeah,
5,
1-5,
4
yeah.
losses. And they've lost crucial games as well. You take the Worthing game into
Yeah.
consideration as one of them.
Yeah.
It's just not been good enough. So it's no surprise really that they sacked the manager, and it made sense for Neil Warnock to come in because he was what was he? He was something to do with the club
Yeah, he's a
already,
part of the
wasn't
club.
he?
He's a part of the club in some way, isn't he? So I think he's just stepped in because he has, sort of shares or royalties with the club. So I think he just
Yeah.
took the role on himself, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean it's unreal for the league. Like it's going to bring so much exposure to National League South. So buzzing for it. To be honest, I just want to see the goat back on the dugout, back in the dugout, should I say, back on the touchline, and just see what madness comes from it. Because I'm sure there'll be a story or two.
Yeah, it'll probably be on social media tonight. Something happening with Neil Warnock, but can't wait to see what happens tonight against Farnborough at home in front of the home fans. Definitely get a good reception, and can't wait to see what happens. But teams that are around them are Hornchurch and Worthing, and Hornchurch got a big 2-1 win against Worthing on the weekend. I mean, it was a huge result. Worthing sort of looked like they were on the upward trajectory, but this result sort of put a dent in that.
Yeah.
So, what did you think of it?
Well, because as you said, the last 2 results, I was hopeful for Worthing that they were turning a page and that they'd just found form at the right time, going
Yeah,
into the crunch moment of the season and coming up to this game, and they've got to go to Meadowbank as well.
yeah,
Um, but too little too late, I think, now, after this result. They went 2-0 down in the first half. Teddy Jenks scored to make it 2-1, and I was just pleading for them to get a result and to,
yeah,
just put it around as we've seen them do before, turn games around and pull off comebacks, score late on, and they're such an entertaining team to watch. I just was hoping they'd do it again, but wasn't to be. Credit to Hornchurch, it's a real 6-pointer,
yeah.
um, and a massive win for them. And now, if they win their game in hand, they'll only be 5 points behind Dorking, who I don't personally see being caught up, but yeah, they're still in and amongst it. But for Worthing, I know we keep going on about them, but we've got affiliations to them. We like them, so we're going to keep speaking about them.
Yeah.
And we go to watch them, so we know probably most about them than we do anyone else in the league, maybe other than Dorking for you, George. But yeah, 9 points off Dorking now, and surely destined to be playoffs again, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, you talk about how much we go to watch Woking. We're literally going to watch Woking this weekend, so
Yeah, exactly.
it just shows we're going to speak about them a lot. If we go to watch them a lot, we'll be going to Tonbridge Angels versus Worthing, so might get a little match day vlog out for that, but we'll wait and see. But yeah, Hornchurch, big result, and I think they're one of the only teams to be challenging Dorking. I think it's relying on if they win that game in hand, and if they do, it could really, spice up how this title race goes until the end of the season, or if you see a complete drop off from Dorking. But yeah, it's a damaging result, and I agree with you. I was looking at the result and thinking of the players like Razak Coleman, DeGraff, Brad Delahan, Shiloh Remy, and Open. Players like that can add a bit of a spark and out of individual moments, but fortunate to have dug out a crucial 3 points, and as you said, a 6-pointer really that happened in this game. But yeah, massive talking points in this league. So I think it's just sort of setting up a cinema finish to the end of the season with KSI
Yeah,
coming in and Neil
again,
Warnock coming in. It's crazy, isn't it? It's happening again in this
yeah.
league, and it's
I
exactly the reason we cover it.
I did just want to say as well. She mentioned those players there: Dullahan, Razak, Remy, even Teddy Jenks, Jack Spong.
Yeah,
Worthing have got to go up this season if they want to keep this squad. It is so good. The
yeah,
squad is unbelievable. The starting 11 could change every week because it's so good.
yeah,
And they've got an amazing manager, even if they want to keep him as well. They've got
yeah.
to go up. They've got to go up, but I mean, I think it's just like a nightmare for Worthing fans having to do it in the playoffs because the last 2 seasons it's been just it's haunted them, hasn't it? You know, what
Yeah.
was it? The final the year before last. It
Yeah,
was the
against
final.
Braintree. But lost the final to Braintree at home as
Exactly,
well.
and then the first round last year, wasn't it? Or well, the second because they came. Was it third? They came last season or second, so they
Uh,
missed the first
yeah,
round. They
yeah,
missed the
yeah, yeah.
first round of the playoffs, and then they lost their first game. So they need to dig it out in the playoffs, but that's what they're destined for. So when we do go watch, this has got to be the start of the momentum turning for them, really, and they've got to find form going into it.
Yeah, hopefully we bring a good luck charm to Tonbridge Angels with us, and hopefully Worthing can find a bit of consistency and, get a few runs of forms going, like what was going on when Adam Winchell was joined, which just looked like they weren't going to stop winning, but clearly opposition have found a way to stop Worthing in the last couple of weeks and a month, really, and has put them in the situation they're in. But we'll move on to the final league in the Isthmian Prem. Not a lot of entertaining games in this league, a bit similar to League Two. But you wanted to speak about Lewis losing again to the boys at Cray Valley Pay for Meals. I mean, it's so bad at Lewis. I mean, I don't know what is going on there. I'm going to be going to Dulwich Hamlet versus Lewis in not this week, next week. So and they're playing tonight actually against Billericay. So hopefully we, future us, are being proved wrong because they were out of winning 6, but hopefully today they they get the win against Billericay. But this game is a shocking result. Paper Mills move out of the relegation zone with this result, and it was a shocking result at the Jeffen Pound, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's just not good enough. As you said, 6 without a win, 2 goals in that time, and 18 conceded. That's just not good
Fucking,
enough.
fucking
And
awful.
yeah, they've gone downhill since Craig Nelson came in. You know, the board was
Mm.
quick to get rid of Pritchard, but what better is Craig Nelson doing? And even then, when he did go, Pritchard, we were thinking, oh, they have dropped off, but then they started to win a couple games and thinking that was a bit harsh. And it
Yeah.
just seems like the complete wrong move
Mm.
because they've regressed. They've not improved. They've got even worse. You know, for some of those, I know they've lost like Calm Bennett to Burgess Hill, and the skipper went, didn't he, after Pritchard went? I can't remember
Yeah,
what his name
yeah,
is. But they still got quality players. They've
yeah.
got quality players, Devontae West to just name one of them.
Oh, so
So,
He's Lewis's best player by a mile. He's the only
yes,
spark. Whenever you watch Lewis, he is the only spark there at the minute. They got Alfie Allen in the midfield. They got oh my god,
the
what's his name? I can't,
striker,
there's Charlie Walker. They got Charlie
yeah.
Walker. They got Parish Muirhead. They got players that are quality. It's just it doesn't. I don't know. It's just not clicking since he's got back.
So it begs the question: what is the gaffer doing? And
Mm.
and partly, I don't want to put it all down to the players, um, because they've got to take some responsibility as well. But even when you've watched it, you've said that they've really just not been able to take their chances, and then just gone out with a whimper. So it's like, well, the manager's obviously not doing well enough, and the players, they're letting him down. But I just think in this case, because you can see a clear difference between one manager and another in terms of results, then you've got to really point the finger there.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from 100%, and you're thinking, he's got the National League South experience. Can he bring that into the league? It just doesn't look like he hasn't. It just doesn't look like he has. It's just too many results like this. Really, they should easily be beating Grey Valley at home at the Dripping Pan, one of the best grounds in non-league. It should be a fortress and a ground which people are scared to go to. But it just looks like teams are constantly winning there at the minute. I mean, I went to the Folkestone game and this game. They've got Billericay tonight, and Billericay are a very good side, so I think it will be a difficult result for Lewis to get anything out of that game. So I don't know. It's just destined for a lower mid-table finish for Lewis come the end of the season. I think Cray Valley will stay up with results like this. They got a good manager in him. The Lisby's dad, I can't remember his first name, but we spoke about him the other week. But be interesting to see the results tonight and see if Lewis can finally not concede about 15 goals in the game and maybe put the ball in the back of the net for once. But we'll move on to the last game I wanted to talk about in Dulwich versus Chichester. 3-1 in the end to Dulwich. A great win for Dulwich, who have shown signs that they're starting to find the form that they had at the start of the season when they were just unbeaten, and they're starting to find it because they are 3 unbeaten at the minute in time, 3 wins on the bounce. With this momentum, could sneak themselves into a playoff place, but is, I think, 8 points, so it is quite a far way off it. But if they keep up their momentum, it will come close and down to the wire. But in terms of the game, Danny Mills made it 2-1 in the game, but he's got 5 goals this season for them. Hectic 10 minutes in the 68th to 78th minute. It was 3 goals in that time, but Dulwich got a killer third to make it comfortable end to the game in the 78th minute with the 78th minute goal, and just made it sort of just a dull finish to the game because Chichester knew they were down and out of it. But Jimmy Wild got one back in the 71st minute to make it 2-1 and get his 3rd goal of the season for Chichester, but it wasn't enough to salvage anything for the away side. Clunnis and McBow were the other 2 goal scorers for Dulwich. They both have 4 respectively for the season. But in terms of Chichester, I spoke about Dulwich. They got 3 on the bounce and 8 points off the playoffs. But Chichester now sitting mid-table, 13 at 13th and look set for a mid-table finish coming into the season. 12 away from the playoffs, 13 away from the relegation zone. So they're just in the middle of it, really. Far away from the playoffs, far away from the relegation zone. So they're just in the middle pack, and they just seem way too inconsistent to even be thought of a side to be in and around it. 2 wins in their last 9 games, with records being 2 wins, 2 draws, 5 losses. It's too inconsistent if you want to be a playoff side. But we'll talk about Dulwich because Chichester sort of just in the middle of things and don't really have
it's
anything
been
to
a
play
tough
for.
season for Chichester. That's what I did want to say with everything that happened with Billy Vigar. So
100%.
I think just seeing this out will be, I think, quite welcome, and then try go
Reset next season. Yeah.
But with Dulwich, they're getting the momentum now at a crucial time. But it's really quite surprising that with their following that they're not actually higher up the league, and they were doing really well at the beginning, but they just completely dropped off. So I definitely back them to get into a playoff place, but it's just whether they can keep that consistency.
Yeah, I think it is that factor, isn't it? I'm excited to see how many they bring to Lewis in not this week but next week, because their fans are really good, and when I've seen them online, they bring fans in numbers. So it'll be interesting. The fans will definitely be behind, and they've got that advantage over a lot of opposition in this league, that they've got a very big big support in this league. So we will have to wait and see on if they do make the playoffs come the end of the season. But I think the
Yeah,
Chippers
they're
has
8
seen them.
points off it now, though.
Yes, it'll
It'll
be
be tough.
close. But three ones on the bounce. Could it happen? Don't know. It just depends on if they can keep that momentum up. So we'll keep an eye on it, see if they do, and see if they sneak into a place. But that'll be it for today. Hope you have enjoyed the episode. We'll be back next week as usual for episode 32, and we will see you then. Bye bye. See you later.
Cheers.